Too late. I didn't even give you a heads up.
Wait, so can you actually, I don't know how that worked.
All right. So yeah, I have the Facebook group pulled up over here. We are live.
All right.
It's just a little
Awesome.
delay. And so I'm gonna
Yeah.
how do I turn that off?
Well, I just got a notification
Oh,
that we're live.
I want to see the okay, I can see the comments. All right. Perfect. So if you're joining us live, do you want let me go ahead?
Go for it.
Awesome. Awesome. So let me pull up my notes so I have all my stuff. Awesome. So hello, welcome to our February M5 Framework Mastermind series. We are here, each month we do a new mastermind series. We did one in January, we're here in February. We're going live all about gym anxiety, starting to come into a fitness center as a beginner. What do you do? There's a lot of confusion there. There's a lot of unknowns, and we have a expert here with us. This is Emily Robinson. And we're going to go through a variety of questions. So if you have questions, save them to the end. We'll have a live Q&A there, but we're going to have questions that we're going to kind of talk through as well. She is recording a podcast on this particular live. So if some of the questions come across a little funny, or, what she says just kind of sounds like she's not talking to you, she's making a podcast. So it's all good. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her, and then we'll dive right in.
What's up, guys? So as she said, my name is Emily Robinson. I'm a certified personal trainer with NASM and exercise specialist. I've been lifting for about 4 or 5 years at this point. I've honestly lost track, but it's like I was a gym newbie at first, right? And I didn't know what I was doing for so many years. So I always say I've only been lifting about 2 years.
We all gotta start somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. And because I struggled so much myself at the beginning, I wanted to help the beginners as well. So that's kind of where I got my specialization in helping the gym newbies.
Awesome. Well, did you want to go ahead and dive into the podcast stuff?
Let's go. All right, so today's episode is going to be about gym anxiety, a topic that many beginners struggle with. We polled on social what the top questions were that people had around getting started in the gym, and my friend Kelsey and I are going to give our best answers for each question. Kelsey right now, and she's going to introduce herself.
Hey guys, I am Kelsey Chittum. I'm the owner and founder of the M5 Framework, where we teach women to maximize and maintain their movement, mindset, and metabolism. I have my master's in exercise science, certifications very similar to that of Emily, my NASM CPT, my NASM CES, and then a nutrition certification, CISSN. And I've been in the fitness industry since 2012, where I had my start as a group exercise instructor. So I didn't necessarily start in the gym. I was in the group exercise room with a whole bunch of ladies. And then I eventually made my way out into the fitness center with all the fun stuff, with all the toys, the weights, the ropes, and all that.
No, that's awesome. I feel like a lot of beginners start with group classes because they don't know how to navigate the gym. So they think that's the easiest way to go. So having your perspective on this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, so we're going to go for it.
So we keep throwing out this term gym anxiety. And you're the expert on gym anxiety and newbies. What is gym anxiety?
I feel like everyone knows what anxiety is in general. It's just kind of like feeling uneasy, feeling stressed out. And gym anxiety is just as it sounds. It's an uneasiness about going into the gym, feeling stressed or worried, or, just completely overwhelmed about getting in the gym. And so many beginners struggle with this. I remember I struggled a lot as well, and it's simply just because of the struggles people face, which actually goes right into the next question here that we have, is what women face when they want to start their fitness journey for the first time. So what I came up with is most people just obviously they don't know what to do, so that's anxiety, and then they have a fear of being judged. I think most people have this fear in general, not just around the gym. people don't want to be judged. So they're going into a place where they don't know what they're doing, and they're thinking all these people know what they're doing and they're going to judge me for knowing what's going on in here. So that causes a big problem for a lot of people. Not to mention, when you're just starting, you're probably in a place where you're not very comfortable in your own skin yet because you haven't been working out, you're not feeling good about yourself. So just being uncomfortable in your own skin causes more anxiety than if you were to go in there feeling great about yourself.
That's something I hear all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, people are looking at me. I feel like
Right.
I'm going
Yeah.
in and people are just staring at me. So they just go on the treadmill,
Yeah.
or like, I know how to operate the treadmill. That's it. So I'm just gonna go
Exactly
in.
right. Yeah. All the cardio machines, just go there, you press a button and you're good, and no one really cares what you're doing. So I feel like that's the route a lot of people go when they're just getting started. And to go on top of that, a lot of people don't know what the best form is for exercises, or if they're doing it right or wrong. That causes more anxiety. So there's just a lot of a lot of factors that go into it.
Yeah, they
And
don't want to get hurt, right?
exactly, you don't want to hurt yourself. And then they have the gym bros in there, and so it's just a bunch of different things going on.
Yeah, awesome. So when people do end up, okay, they take that first step, they sign up for the gym. Okay, yes, I'm anxious about it. I don't know what to do. I go to the gym. What are a lot of the mistakes that you find that people have or do mistake, whatever they perform a mistake, I guess. What are some of those mistakes, and how can they overcome those and not make those mistakes?
Yeah, exactly. I think the most common thing people do is, we kind of mentioned it already, they just only do cardio because they don't know what exercises bad, if they're doing them right or wrong. So they just default to doing only cardio and that's it. And that's good if you just want to like become healthier overall and whatnot. But if you're trying to actually build muscle, lean, and I know a lot of people want a toned body overall, then that is not going to be a good route to go. You're going to turn into like skinny fat, so we don't want that. Another right. Another big mistake I see is people just did this too when I first started, is they just walk around to random machines and they just do them, and they first of all probably don't even know what they're for really. There's just no structure to any of the plan they're doing. So they do all these machines and then they go home and they're like, I don't really see any results happening. And it's just because they don't have a structured routine going on. So, which is another problem. Those are two separate problems actually that go in hand with each other.
But the gym machines are so lined up nicely.
I know,
Aren't
right?
you supposed to go down the line?
Exactly. Yeah, they put them in perfect line they're supposed to go, and that would be very helpful actually. I'm gonna make a gym that does that. That's a great idea.
They're all numbered, and you know what number to go to on your sheet.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to go number 14. And it's
right? Yeah, that would be super helpful. Another mistake people make is not paying any attention to their nutrition. This was a big problem for me because I like to eat a lot of food. So when I first started, I was just like eating inside. Like I wasn't tracking anything. I had no protein. Like I just didn't care. I was like, I'm in the gym. I can eat whatever I want. So work out for me. So
I ate pizza last night. So if I just do the treadmill, it evens out, right?
Right. I wish. I think a lot of people don't realize that you can go on the treadmill for like an hour and burn like 200 calories maybe and eat that. So it's like you cannot outwork it, truly. What else do we got here? Oh, last mistake I have written down here is not asking for help. So I didn't do this either. These are all things I didn't do. So this is just me personally, but I never had a trainer. I never would go up to people in the gym or ask a friend, like, how do I do this? I would just like try to figure it out on my own. And that's to get results in the beginning because I was just doing everything wrong and no one helped me. I didn't ask for help. So if you ask for help, will help you and you will get results much faster.
And I think it is overwhelming to that degree because there is a lot that goes into it, right? Okay, body awareness. Okay, what muscle am I supposed to be working with this movement? What's the best weight? What's the best form so I don't get hurt? So I understand that yeah, I get why there's a lot of confusion and anxiety around it because there is a lot to it. And then I think, yeah, certainly having somebody there to point you in the right direction, tell you what all you're supposed to know and remember is a great way to start to or not make those mistakes. So
Right.
those are some things to not make mistakes. Beyond those, are there any other things that people can do to overcome gym anxiety?
For sure, for sure. So, what you can do to overcome it is first of all, if you have never been to the gym you're going to, like familiarize yourself with that gym. Ask or one of the trainers there, like to literally bring you through the gym, take a tour of it, ask them questions. It's free, like you don't get charged for it. So take advantage of that for sure. Next thing, put together a workout plan that's actually structured. And if you can't or don't know how, try to ask someone, or you can also get a trainer, but I know trainers are expensive. So those options would be good. If you can get to the gym at a less busy time, like probably really early in the morning, really late at night, maybe the middle of the day, just so it's not like peak hours, it's super busy and like there's a ton of people there, a lot going on, and you'll just be less stressed that no one is watching you, hopefully.
Now, when you say peak times, that can vary by gym, but what do you mean? Do you mean like before work and after work and lunchtime?
Yeah, so I find that the peak time is generally so people have like 9 a.m. jobs. I don't have that, but so that would be like what, like 7, between 7 and 9 probably is really busy. And after work, like between 5 and 7, I find is very busy. So
Okay.
definitely don't go during those 2 times. But I personally go to the 10 a.m. I know that's a really weird time because I don't work like a normal job and there's really not anyone there. So that's a great time to go. Anytime really, probably not specifically lunch, like 12 p.m. Probably not good, but any other
Yeah.
middle times between there is good.
And I'm sure the fitness facility could tell you, hey, this is when it's the most busy here, so
Yeah,
you should probably come at this time.
exactly. I do know some, like I know Planet Fitness has in their app, they show you the peak hours for each facility. So,
Yeah.
yes, which a lot of beginners do, which is great. That is an option. And I'm sure other gyms do that as well, but I don't specifically know which ones.
Right. The little mom and pop gyms probably don't have that. The little boutique
Yeah,
ones, no. But
exactly.
awesome. What else can people
What
do?
else? So, what I suggest to all of my clients is if you can like put together some household items at home, or if you have like home weights, try to practice your form at home. Like literally go to YouTube, search what you're going to do or plan to do there, and if you're going to the gym and trying to like practice it at the gym and you're like, I don't know if this is good or not, like you're going to feel really uncomfortable. So just do it at home, record yourself at home so that you can compare it to like your YouTube video you're watching and see like what like, and then you'll know in the gym, wow, I like pretty good doing this exercise. So that is a good tip I share with my clients.
Love it. I always have people, if the form's kind of a questioner, that my back hurts on a deadlift. Well, let me send you a video of good form. Let's see you do a video of good form. And yeah, that's a great way to go back and
Exactly.
forth without actually being in the gym in front of everybody.
And then if you can also bring a friend with you, because just being with your friend makes you more comfortable. And something I found that I didn't really think about before is wear clothes that you're like really comfortable in. Because if you go and like, I actually experienced this recently myself because I don't really wear like those, gym girl short, the little tight spandex ones, which are like really popular, but I don't ever wear those. And I was like, I got some for free and I was like, I gotta wear these because these are like good quality shorts. So I wore them to the gym and I was like, I'm like really uncomfortable. Like, I don't like this. And I was like, at me like funny. And so that like actually gave me a little bit of anxiety. So definitely go in clothes that you are like, you look good in and etc. So that will actually really help you.
I love that. I love that. Awesome. So one of the questions that I get a lot is, everybody at the gym is so fit. They feel like they come into the gym and like, okay, this is a
Mhm.
place for fit people. I am not in that place yet, right? People are staring at me when I go to the free weights. People are looking at me when I go to the machines, and they know I don't belong, or so they think that people think that,
Yeah.
right? What what would you suggest in that particular instance?
So I think it's important to look at it from the perspective of everyone was once you. Like no one just walked into the gym super buff. So like you got to think about these people understand that not everyone in there is going to be at level. People are gonna be beginners. That's like that's just a fact, right? So I know that most of the gym members aren't judging you, like, they are happy to see you there. They are secretly cheering you on. Maybe there are some very few amount of people who are gonna be, like, annoyed just because it's, like, their problem. Like, it's literally their problem, not yours. So, what I would suggest is just honestly focus on you. Like, if you're looking around during, like, your rest period or whatever, just go on your phone maybe. That's what I do. I don't staring at me because I'm always on my phone or I'm not paying attention to what's around me. So just kind of like be in your own world and don't pay attention to other people. And you won't notice them. If you don't notice them staring at you, then it's not a problem, right?
But I think a lot of people also, they're busy looking at themselves.
Exactly. Like, yes, that is a fact. Like for sure. Like people are worried about themselves. They don't care about you at all, but it's just everyone gets in their head about it.
Yeah, whether it's checking out form or checking themselves in the whatever.
Mhm.
People are
Right.
rarely looking at you.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned like the people that get annoyed. I know those people at like, what is it, January 1, when there's so many people at the gym because they're
Yeah.
starting their New Year's resolution. People are annoyed, but then there's those other us that are like, yes, we're excited you're here. Keep going. We
Exactly.
want to see you in
Mhm.
February. We want to see you in March. We want this
Yeah.
to continue.
There's more people cheering you on. You gotta think about the positives.
For sure. For sure. And well, we have those gym bros, and maybe those are the people that are getting annoyed. So,
Generally, yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you, like, they're normally the gym bros.
Now, they kind of act like they own the gym.
Mhm.
So this is a question that we got as well, from somebody in the group here. Is they're pushing through that gym anxiety. They're using heavier weights. They're using the machines. But these gym bros are being a little aggressive. What would you suggest in that particular instance?
Yeah, so especially if, like, the gym is really busy, this might be an opportunity for you can work in with me, like, we can switch out if you're saying you're doing, like, a you're using a bench and you're doing, like, a shoulder press or something, like, we can switch out sets, but other than that, like, I have X amount of you don't like it, like, you're not gonna be able to work out, like, it's not my problem, right? So, you have as much like, you belong there as much as he does or she does, so, just you gotta think like that.
Yeah. And maybe that's terminology that people don't really know. When you say work in with someone, what does that
Oh,
mean?
yeah. Basically, say you're doing, like, one set of shoulder presses or something, and then when you're resting, the other person would come in and you're resting, so, that's how that
Okay, and you just
works.
alternate back and forth.
Mhm.
During your rest, they work out. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot. People will just ask you to work in, so just maybe you'll make a friend.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it. When it's super busy, yeah, you can make friends.
It's true, yeah.
Awesome. Now, when people start to venture away from the cardio equipment and into the more, I say gym stuff, but the weights, the machines, there can be some confusion on proper form. What weight is best? Are they doing the exercise right? What is the best way to tell?
Yeah, so with the form thing, I feel like we kinda already went over that, like, try it out at home, film yourself, and compare it to the videos. In terms of, like, how much weight you should be lifting, I always say that what you're training in, like say you're doing 8 reps, the last 3 reps of every set should be like very challenging. Like you should almost get like by the 8th rep, like you can't even get it up. That's how hard it should be. So you'll probably have to test out some like test out some weights because you never know like what that's going to be if you're just starting out. So do trial and error and figure it out. For every exercise, it's going to be different. So
Right. And I think that goes back to you saying, hey, make a structured plan. So then you can take
yeah,
notes. Oh, for my bicep curls, the tens were good. I can't do much more. I can't do 12-pound weights. And then the next time you can see that and try to progress.
yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it helps
Yeah.
to either have like a notebook with you or use an app. But I'm not like familiar with other apps outside of the one that I use for my clients, which is Trainerize, to actually track workouts. So like
Yeah.
ask me for suggestions and I'm like, you can use my app. Because I don't personally use an app, so I'm like, I don't really know. But I don't know if you know any.
I use trainer. Right? So this is what
Yeah, I figured it's like a trainer thing.
yeah. But I think it's also important to note, yeah, you want to get to a point where you're fatigued, you work into fatigue, but the this is a phrase when I was in person and training people, all the guys they had this mindset of no pain, no gain. And that's like you want the
Yeah.
burn, you want the muscle
Mhm.
to burn and fatigue, but you don't need shooting pain, right? To get
No.
the benefit of the exercise. So
Yeah,
don't aim
no.
for pain, aim for a good burn.
Right. Yeah, pain is not good. Like we don't want actual physical pain because that probably means you injured yourself, so that's not good.
Yeah, awesome.
But in
Now,
terms of this is another question is like do I wasn't sore, like when I worked out, like what does that mean? And I'm like, well, you don't have to work out. Soreness is literally just an indicator that you did something your body's not used to. So if you either like say you just started working out and you did new stuff, you're going to be sore because your body's not used to that. If you switch out your exercises like every so many weeks, which this is another question here, your exercises every like 8 to 12 weeks, I suggest. But once you switch out those exercises, you're going to be a little sore too because you're not used to doing those specific exercises. So when you're used to a routine, though, you won't really be very sore. Like I don't know if you experience soreness, but I don't really experience soreness unless I pushed myself harder than I normally would. Like I lifted more weight or something.
right. Well, having just given birth 3 months ago,
Well,
the
yeah, that's
last couple months of the pregnancy, I wasn't doing much weight training. I
right.
was walking because that's all I was
Mhm.
physically comfortable doing. And then now that I've, slowly started getting back into the gym and gotten more comfortable, I've started myself slow as people should.
Mhm.
I'm getting sore, even with like lightweight.
Imagine. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
starting people
is
slow, starting with a lighter weight, maybe
mhm.
lower repetitions and kind of building up. Yeah, that
Yeah,
till your body adapts. Yeah.
yeah, if you're, like, very I don't wanna say out of shape, but if you're very not used to working out, like, you should definitely start it slower, like, don't just go in and start, like, curling 50s, like, you that is not gonna be good for you. So, like, start with the 10s maybe, work your way up.
And I think there's two people on the spectrum, or it's a spectrum, right? People don't want to be sore, or if you feel like you've been hit by a bus, you count that as a success.
Yeah,
People are kind of on the spectrum. I'd like to be a little sore, feel like I made myself uncomfortable. I stepped out of my comfort zone. I tried something harder. Um, and if I'm not sore at all, I'm like, that's an indication that I can push myself harder.
yeah, and also, like, if you should be if you're just starting out and you're doing all this new stuff. Some ways to reduce it would be foam rolling, which I actually have a foam roller, like not really on purpose, but foam boy, it will help you reduce your muscle soreness.
That's
And
a
then
love-hate
I
relationship right
personally
there.
take a post-workout supplement as well. It's technically BCAAs, but that helps me a lot too with my muscle soreness. And sometimes like Epsom salt baths help too. I don't know if you got any other suggestions.
Always warm up, always stretch at the end.
Yeah. Mhm. That
Hydrate
also helps.
is good.
hydration. Electrolytes are good as well. I don't think a lot of people know about those, to be honest, because no one really like talks about them. I feel like they're just like, oh, hydrate with water. But if you're like losing a lot of sweat or like, you need to replenish that, which is important.
Yeah. Take a Gatorade. Yeah, be careful with the sugar, but yeah, Gatorade,
Yes,
Powerade, something, or maybe your BCAAs have some sort of electrolytes in them. I don't know.
some do, yeah. Like Gatorade Zero, Gatorade, or like Liquid IV. Those kind of have a lot of sugar. Well, they don't have a lot of sugar, but they have like 12 grams. I would know that off the top of my head. Um,
Now, you mentioned, going to the gym and doing the same exercise, and once you've done it for several weeks, you kind of change it up. Now, if somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week to get started," and they go and they do the same, for this example, machines every single time they go, is that good? Should they be doing something different each day they go? What do you think there?
yeah, so this is kind of where like muscle splits or workout splits come into play. I know kind of like the most popular ones that I teach are just full body or like upper lower and then push pull legs. So if you're doing a full body split, fine for you to do the same 3 days, but not in a row. Like you definitely need to take at least a day or two between each of them. But that's kind of the only split where I'm like, you can do the same exact workout every time you go. And I know some coaches will be like, you can like you switch up the exercises, but it's still full body. I think either way works for that, but that is the one exception I have. So for the other splits, like if you're doing upper and lower, you should not be doing the same machines for that makes no sense. Same with push pull legs. Like just to explain what that is, because some people probably don't know. Push is your not bicep, chest, shoulders, and triceps, and then pull is back and biceps together, and then legs is legs. But those are the same, so you should not be working the same machines for any of those days. But if
Okay, so
you
that
by
would
chance,
give. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you are by chance doing the same day twice a week, like if I was doing push day twice a week, that's okay for those 2 days to be the same, but they shouldn't be like the push shouldn't be the same as pull and legs, etc.
Yeah, and like you said, not doing them back to back days. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
you build muscle in the recovery, in your rest,
Exactly.
and
Yep.
so a lot of perhaps newbies don't know that. When you
Mhm.
exercise, when you do weight training, you are damaging the muscle. You're creating all those little micro tears in the muscle, and they grow back stronger, sometimes bigger, depending on how you train, in your rest. And
Mhm.
so, you can't just keep hitting the same muscle day after day after day, because then
Yeah.
it's just gonna not help it.
That's why I don't
You're not gonna.
understand how like I know a lot of gym girls legs like every day. I'm like, how do you like how? Like why? It doesn't make any sense to me because you physically need rest in between to grow. So I'm like, you're just like it's counterproductive. And that kind of leads me to another point. Sleeping with rest is
Yeah,
super important when you're trying to build muscle or lose weight or anything really. Because if you don't have proper sleep, you're not gonna do any of that. So get
right.
at least
Yeah.
7 hours of sleep, I say.
People think it's just diet and exercise, which it's so much more. You got
It
sleep, your
is.
hydration, stress, which kind of
Uh-huh.
plays into all of that. Hormones, and everything. So,
Yeah, that's the first thing I like when people I get so many messages on Instagram. People are like, I'm doing X, Y, and Z great, like perfectly, all stressed. And they're like, maybe. Like, that's probably why.
awesome. Now, a lot of people will notice when they get started at the gym or even at home, they notice, like, wow, I'm right hand dominant. My left side is not nearly as strong as my right. Do
Hmm.
I need to use a lighter weight on this side and just have 110 and 1.5 and do bicep curls this way? Should I force this one to suffer through the 10 pound? What do you, I mean, I'm sure you get that question all the time too. What do you do there?
Yes, I do get that question. Suggest is you definitely should use the same weight for each hand, but keep it like whatever weight is on your weaker side. Like if you can use 10 on your left side and then 15 on your right side, keep it at 10 so that you can build it up to your right side. And what I suggest is if you're doing like 10 reps, do 10 reps of each, but then once you're done, do a few extra reps on your weaker side. And eventually it will catch up to your stronger side. It's kind of a funny situation. Like I feel like a lot of people struggle with it, but some people were telling me like their dominant arm is weaker, and I was like, I don't know. Like that's weird to me, but I guess it's a thing. So everyone's different.
I've also heard of it where people have an injury and they're like, if they, I don't know, tore their ACL, and they're like, well, should I work my good leg? And I remember the study back when I forget where it was, what level of education, but if you only work one side and strength train, the other side sees benefit too, which is crazy.
Really?
They
I
did
didn't
some
know that.
study where it's like leg extension or something, and they only worked the one side, but the other side got stronger as well.
I wonder
That
if
must
it's
be a
because
brain
it's
thing.
like, yeah, I feel like maybe because it's like it's using that side as like stability for something. Like I don't know what I have to do something like that. That's funny though.
That's crazy. I found that to be mind blowing. So I'm like, yes, keep training your good side, even if
I
you
know,
have a
right?
bum ankle or something. But
Yeah.
awesome. So a lot of people that I've talked to that are hesitant to go to the gym say, I need to lose some weight first. I need to get down to a good weight place, and then I want to strength train. Then I want to go to the gym.
Mhm.
What do you suggest there?
Yeah, that question a lot. People are like, I want to lose some fat before I go in there, or I just want to do cardio first to drop the fat. And I'm like, thing that going to the gym and lifting weights is going to do is make you lose weight faster, especially if you're combining it with cardio. So I would not, I would suggest going to the gym immediately and trying to burn as many calories as you can and get your nutrition in line. That is my
Right.
suggestion.
And I don't think people know that, muscle utilizes more calories. So the more muscle you
Mm-hmm.
have, the more calories you're burning throughout the day. So
Mm-hmm.
it, yeah, between the
Yeah,
exercise and having more muscle, you're going to, yeah, like you said, drop the body fat a little quicker.
exactly. And people also don't know that there's a thing called newbie gain is
Yeah, it's
when you
crazy.
just start lifting. I think it's like a year's time frame. Like you can actually build muscle while you're eating in a calorie deficit, which you can't do that. Like don't ever try to do that unless you're just starting because it's not going to be helpful at all to building muscle. But when you're just starting, like that you can get. So definitely hit the gym, hit the weights hard when you're just starting.
The newbie gains are mind blowing.
They are. Like I've seen
Incredible.
some people like absolutely like their transformation is crazy just in a year from new weight gains, and they've been eating in calorie deficit. They're dropping fat, and like their whole body composition is like a 180. It's crazy.
I want that to happen, but I know it's not. Not for me. I'm not a newbie.
Yeah, no, we are far past our newbie years at this point. Everything's a struggle.
But I do know, if you have like some sort of mishap, if you're out of training for several weeks or whatever it has, and you kind of lose your strength in a particular area, you go back to training, you gain that strength back pretty
Mm-hmm.
quickly. Now, you don't have that whole
Yeah,
body recomposition, but you do gain the
right.
strength back, which is
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's good.
That to me because I lost like 10 pounds somewhere like in the last year, and I noticed that I got like a lot weaker since I like stopped losing weight and like started gaining weight back. Like I've gained my strength back like pretty immediately. So it's
Awesome.
interesting.
Awesome. Some people would be like, I wish I could lose 10 pounds like
Yeah,
that. Just one.
I didn't really mean to do that if I'm being honest. I don't, I don't know what happened, but stress maybe.
There you go. Right. Now, to lose the body fat, now you don't know if you lost fat or muscle. Hopefully, you got it back fairly
Yeah.
quickly though, which is great. But people want to lose fat. Hopefully. They want to lose weight, but hopefully they want to lose body fat. What is the best exercise? What's the best workout to lose that?
Yeah,
Is
so
it
whenever
cardio
people
and
ask
toe
me
punching?
that, whenever people ask me that, I'm like, the best exercise for you, like there's no exercise that's going to make you lose fat unless you're eating in a calorie deficit. Like those are just the facts. People get so angry at me when I post about that on social media. I don't know why, but I'm just like, I'm just here to relay the facts. So it is.
Right. Yeah. And, to build muscle, it's the opposite with the,
Mm-hmm.
kind of that exception of the newbie gains, right?
Yeah.
But, to build muscle, the muscle needs to come from somewhere. You need to be
Mm-hmm. Yep.
eating in a
Calories
calorie
surplus.
surplus.
Mm-hmm. Lots of protein, calories surplus, or else you will not be making any gains
Yeah. Now, if
unless you're
you
a
are
newbie.
in a calorie deficit and losing body fat or trying to lose weight, are there specific additional exercises that they should be doing now that they're in a calorie deficit?
So I always suggest like the big compound lift can be best for you just because they work multiple muscle groups at one time. And so because of that, you burn more calories. Like things like squatting, deadlifting, barbell rows, like things like that. I always like forget some of them. I'm like, I don't remember. but just things that use multiple groups at a time are going to be better for you. And more time effective also if you're in a time crunch, because I know a lot of people are like, I don't have time to go to the gym. I'm like, you can do like two of these exercises in like 30 minutes and be done. Like you don't need to do 10 exercises in one exercise session, workout session, whatever you want to call it. Like you can literally do 4 to 6 exercises and that is completely fine. Which I also think
Yeah.
is a thing that a lot of newbies don't know.
I think that, and this is a question that we got, but people are like, "Hey, I don't want to spend hours at the gym. I don't have time for that." And they don't have to, right? I don't
Yeah.
spend an hour at the gym, um, because I do the compound movements. I get in and out real quick and make sure I stretch and warm up. But how long would you suggest somebody start out with at the gym?
Yeah, so for starting out, I would say is probably like I think less than that is really going to be super effective. So like 30 minutes, between 30 and 60 minutes. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. You always gotta count time for the warm up and the cool down, right? 5 to 10
Yeah.
minutes of each. And then you can do a couple of those compound exercises and be good to go. Awesome.
Right.
Now, we keep talking about losing fat and gaining muscle. People want to tone, Emily. They want to tone.
Yeah,
How do
they
they
do.
tone?
A lot of people don't know that toning is just a word that means gaining muscle and losing fat. To reveal tone, so what we got to do here is first of all build some muscle mass. So if you're in a position where like you don't have to lose a lot of weight, probably best to bulk first so that you can gain muscle mass and then cut it down afterwards. But if you're starting from a place where like you need to lose, that probably doesn't really make sense. So maybe cut first, lose some weight, and then bulk when you're in a place to do so, and then cut again to kind of cut down and reveal that tone. So it's really just a process that keeps repeating itself over and over, bulk and cut, bulk and cut. People just do body recomposition if they can. I know I personally enjoy that the most because I've never been like underweight. I've just kind of always like stayed in the same weight range. So if you are someone who you're like kind of like okay with your weight, but you want to look better or want to look more toned and like drop some fat, that's a good option for you. You technically lose muscle, no, lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, but it's just a much longer, like slower process.
Yeah, it doesn't happen nearly as quick as the newbie gains.
Not see results. Like you will have to probably wait like 6 months to start seeing results, which a lot of people don't like, and that's probably why they don't do it. But yeah, I was like, it makes sense to do for me.
For sure. For sure. Now, we keep throwing out these terms bulk and cut. Do you want to give a brief description of what those mean?
Yep. So bulking is when you go through a phase in a calorie surplus, and so that you are physically gaining weight and hopefully muscle mass, not just weight, because we don't want to gain extra weight. But when you do bulk, you will gain extra fat. It just comes with the process, and that's why people cut down after. To explain what a cut is, it's going into a calorie deficit. There's so many calories things going on here. I'm switching them up. Going into a calorie deficit in order to reduce your fat percent overall.
Right. And like you said, with both happen, when you want to do it just enough so you gain mostly muscle and a little bit of fat. And then when you cut, well, yeah, you're losing body fat, but you might lose a little bit of muscle too.
And that's why you bulk again, and then you just keep going and process. It goes in circles.
Right. Awesome. I'm trying to think of what other questions we had. You mentioned supplements. You do BCAAs. For those that don't know, it's branched chain amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. What other supplements do you perhaps recommend for beginners? Well, you mentioned supplements aren't needed, but what may be useful for people?
Like, I think a lot of people think they are necessary, so it's important to like say that they aren't. You can do it completely without any supplementation at all. But ones that I recommend are, first of all, what we already talked about, BCAAs, or like a post-workout supplement, just because it helps recover faster. Creatine, I personally like. I know a lot of people like how it's kind of like a controversial thing, but I gain muscle, creatine is super helpful. And I actually, the post-workout supplement I take has creatine in it, so it's kind of like a 2-in-1 situation going on. So that's an option for some people. Less money too, because it's not two different supplements. And then like a protein powder, if you are someone who struggles to hit your protein goal with real food, powder to get you that extra boost, but you don't want to just be having like straight protein powder all day, because you should be getting most of your protein from actual food. So that's important to know. And then lastly, like I'm not really huge on supplements. So, like these are kind of like just the top 3 that I think of. The last one I think of is just like a pre-workout. I don't personally take pre-workout because it makes me super unwell. Like I don't know, there's like some, it makes me like really nauseous. And it's not caffeine, because I like have energy drinks normally before my workouts. But for some reason, I can't take pre-workout. Like it's just me and pre-workout are not friends. But a lot of people do take it, and it's great for them to like get a pump and get that energy. So definitely recommend if you can take a pre-workout without feeling unwell.
Yeah, that whatever stimulant maybe it is that.
Yeah, there's some ingredient that's just not good for me. And I'm sure like other people.
We're good to go.
Yeah, like I don't know, just any caffeine you can have before is generally, but I would suggest like kind of track how much caffeine you're having, because sometimes it will make you lightheaded when you're working out leg day. Like I kind of noticed that I should not take any caffeine at all before a leg day, because I get, because you got to think about like your legs are such big muscles that you're working really hard, and first of all, you're going to be like really out of breath anyways and lightheaded, but then the caffeine on top of that like makes you extra jittery and lightheaded. So I don't know. I don't take it on leg day, but if it works for you, it works for you.
I couldn't tell you the last time I took a pre-workout, but I do remember one time. This is completely off topic. No, it's not. It's about pre-workout. I took a pre-workout. It was like a little sample packet, and I was at this like Zumbathon, and I was going to teach like a couple songs, and I took this pre-workout, and I was so jittery. I felt like I was 2 steps ahead for every song. I was like freaking out because I was about to go up on stage and teach, and I'm like, I'm going to be so off beat because I'm so wired.
Yeah.
So maybe do a half dose first, and
Definitely. Yeah, because 200, 300 milligrams of caffeine, like that's a lot of caffeine to have at one time. Especially if you're not used to it, like that's easier way into it, because you will not be feeling so hot if you take the full dose.
Start slow with that. And then some people hesitate with creatine. It's I think marketed as like a big man Hulk kind of supplement, when helps you retain water in the muscle and can help you recover quicker and see those muscle gains quicker. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, not necessarily just for men, but
No,
beneficial for everybody if we
all
want to take
women
it.
should all women should take it. If you're trying to get muscles, you should take it. And it's not like you're just going to take it and like start like building massive muscles. Like you have to put in so much work and food into your body to actually build muscles and get bulky. Like I don't know if you can like see my arm right now, but like I think it's like a little bulky, but I don't know if you know like how much work I had to do to get like I didn't just pop up like this overnight. Like I had to put in to get this way. Like you will not get bulky by accident, which I think a lot of females especially think is that when they start lifting weights, they're just going to get really bulky. And that is like not like you have to do it on purpose pretty much because it's hard.
Right. Yeah, I think that was the last question we had.
Mhm.
I don't want to get bulky. It's like, okay, you're not going to look like a He-Man out there.
Nope.
Yeah, you've been training, like you said, for 4 years, and is this the most, would you say, physically fit that you've been, or it's taking you a while
Yeah,
to get
this
to
is
this point, right?
actually yeah, no, this is like I used to be actually a little bulkier, but I've recently like leaned out a little bit. So this is probably like the most fit I've ever been. So it's taken me this many years to look like this. Like
Yeah,
that's it's like don't expect to just work out for a few months and like look amazing. Like that's
right.
not gonna happen. You like the people you're looking at have been working out for so many years, and to compare yourself to them is just not realistic at all.
Right. It's your journey and it's going to take time. And yeah, having the right help and knowing what you're doing is going to make that process a little easier. But yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
All right. Well, I do want to make sure we get questions answered. If anybody's watching live in the Facebook group, you guys can go ahead and post them in the comments. Emily and I will keep talking back and forth if we don't see any.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have one pop up. Awesome.
Oh,
Ashley asks, are there any resources for someone who might be new to lifting weights in the gym? Maybe something to help them get comfortable with the movements and the names of the exercises. You say shoulder press, but people don't know
mhm.
perhaps what that means.
Yeah. So I don't want to plug my own ebook, but I have an I have an ebook. There's actually that it has something called the Plug and Chug Guide. It's literally like a pre-made workout for you, but it's not. You have to plug in the exercises from a list of exercises that I made. So you're kind of making your own workout because that was the point. I didn't want to make it for you for yourself, but it has an entire list of like muscles and then what exercises are good for them attached to them. So that would be helpful if that's something you're into. Go to my website at emilyrobinsfitness.com. And then also like I think there's a website called Muscle Wiki, which like WIKI. And
Like
if you click
Wikipedia, but for muscle.
yeah, right. And you can like click on each person, like it's like figure, and you click on the muscles and it shows you like some exercises to do, which is also helpful.
Awesome. And I think it's good at a lot of these gyms and facilities, they have those machines where they have the picture. Okay, these are the muscles you should be feeling it in. This is what the exercise, the movement is called. And so then you can almost replicate that same movement with free weights, depending on the movement, once you progress from the machines. Yeah,
Exactly.
great question,
Yeah.
Ashley.
And some of the machines also have QR codes like right on the screen that you can scan on your phone, and it will show you a video of how to do it, which is very helpful.
Yeah.
And then additionally, like you can, if you know the name of the exercise, it's like you can look up a free weight version of it, which is another option.
I think another question that I tend to get is, okay, where do I start as far as machines go versus free weights versus the cable tower? And something
Yeah.
that I think I've told people in the past is like the machines themselves offer very little room for error. The machine moves in a motion that is dictated by the machine. You can
Yeah, it's
put
on a
too much
set
weight on it.
path.
And then you have the cables, which it's still working in a it's still pulling you in a specific direction. Whereas a free weight, you can just kind of chuck it across the room and really injure something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would start with machines for the
Hmm.
newbies, and then kind of progress to the cables and then the free weights. Is that something that you would
Yeah.
suggest too?
Yeah, I feel like that order makes the most sense. And to be honest, like I even though I'm not a beginner, of machines, like I like the stability it provides. You can lift more weight with it, so that's actually something I like as well. Even if you're not in a
Sure. Yeah, you want to lift heavy weight? Yeah,
I
go
know.
to the machine. I think that was a question I was talking with a client about. She was like, how come I can lift, or I guess leg press, how much I can, how come I can press so much more weight with the leg machine versus squat? It's like,
That is
well,
a valid question because I can't like you can I don't even know the answer to that honestly, but it's valid. It's valid.
right. I think it's like you mentioned, it's that stability it creates. You don't have to utilize your core and all of the stabilizing muscles as much.
But even if you're doing like a machine squat, I feel like you still probably can't squat like something like a hack squat machine. I know I can't. I can leg press like 4 or 5 plates and I can hack squat like 2 or maybe 3 maximum.
Trying to see if any other questions pop up here. I'm not seeing any. But if people want more information from you, you mentioned your website, but maybe we'll mention it again. You mentioned your ebook. Um, I've put your Instagram handle in various places, but what is the best way to get in touch with you if people have more questions?
Yeah, so I pretty much use Instagram as like my main communication method. So and even though I have a lot of followers, like I answer every single message pretty much. So just shoot me a DM on there and I will most likely get back to you. And if I don't, message me again and I will actually get back to you. So at emilyrobinson.fit if you don't know what that is.
We did get one more question. How many times a week should you do cardio and strength training? And should you do them both on the same day, or is it better to do them on different days?
That is a good question. So I usually recommend strength training at least 3 days a week. And then you have rest day. Like I'm not suggesting you work out for 6 days, but at very minimum, you should have at least one rest day a week. But I think that is probably the best range of days you should strength train. And then for cardio, like you can definitely do it on your off days, but if you're gonna do it same day that you're training, do it after you lift weights because then your strength training session will be more effective. Um, why wouldn't I do it before? Because then I'll be like tired and then like burn more calories. But if it's the same thing the other way as well, like if you strength train, your heart rate is going to be pretty high. And then when you go to do cardio, you'll burn more calories doing cardio that way. So that is what I suggest.
I would say prioritize, do first whatever your priority is. If you want to
Mhm.
get stronger, well, do your strength first. If you're worried about improving your heart health, do your
Yeah.
cardio
Yeah,
first,
the only
right?
time you should do cardio first is if you're, like, specifically training for, like, maybe a race or, like, you just wanna improve your, like, cardiovascular system, but other than that, always strength train first.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm not seeing any other questions pop up. We appreciate you, Emily, for hopping on and letting us share your podcast with you.
Yep.
Uh, for the March Mastermind, we're going to be announcing that on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that announcement. But that is all I have for you, Emily. Is there anything else that you wanted to go over or sign off and do?
No, honestly, I'm good, but thank you guys for having me, and thank you for, participating in the podcast.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I will figure out how to end this live video.
Yeah, that is a good point. Recording.